they should. They're talking about Marvel or Disney or something.
Yeah.
They should make this for you want somebody else to do it for you. You don't want to do it yourself. You know what I'm saying? And I always tell people, you have an idea in your head, you can make it happen. You can sit down, get out a piece of paper, and you can write and you can write out a script and a storyline, and you can do that. You can do that on your own if you have ideas in your head.
What's up, everybody? This is Joseph R. Wheeler III, the artist, founder, and the president of the ONYXCON Foundation. If you don't know, we are a 501c3 nonprofit arts and entertainment and life enrichment organization. At this point in ONYXCON's history, we always say ONYXCON is a lifestyle. And so today's special guest, I can tell you, really does in many ways speak to that lifestyle by way of his talents as a cartoonist. He is well known in that medium. He is also well known as a caricaturist. All of this is cartoon world stuff, but he can be controversial. I will warn you, this is an adult conversation we have in here today. This is grown folks only, mature folks only. If you can't handle the heat, stay out the kitchen. And if you young folk talk about smoke, we ain't dealing with it because we will block yo. Okay, understood. We're not about that life. We're not about that life. We're just here to have an intelligent conversation. We may not always agree. This is my first time ever meeting this brother. Let me say that online right now.
I've known you for years. For years.
We've known of each other, definitely.
Gone back and forth. You posted some of my stuff before. And you invited me a million times
to ONYXCON for sure.
And a million times I've said I'm going to go this year, and a million times I've not went this year because business-wise something will come up and I got to work. And I think one time I was going to go, but I had like a large event in another state, and it was crazy money. And I was like, I need to go make this money. So
hey, you would have made just as much at ONYXCON, but it's all good. I'm glad we're here now. We can talk about it all. This is Drayonis, ladies and gentlemen, Drayonis. And he is especially known for his book, The Dog Years. If you're not familiar with The Dog Years, don't worry. We will be flashing some of your artwork throughout this. When I edit it, it'll be there so people will get examples.
No doubt.
For sure. So, man, it's a pleasure. And I want to start by just first of all asking, where are you originally from, my brother?
I am from the Caribbean, actually. My family's from the Caribbean. My parents are from Grenada.
Okay.
But I'm from St. Croix. I was born in St. Croix. And then I grew up here in Baytown, Texas, but I live in Houston, Texas. That's what I'm from.
I saw the cap and I was just wondering, is it just fandom or are you really there?
No, Astros. We Astros now. Actually, I have a contract with Astros. My business is contracted with them partially too. So.
Okay. Yeah, okay. And your business meaning which one? Because I know you might be involved in a lot, but what you talking about?
I'm a concessionaire. I'm an art concessionaire. So like when you go to theme parks and stuff like that, and you see like people doing face painting and caricatures and stuff like that, and those kind of booths, those aren't owned by the parks. Those are subcontractors. So there are companies that's what they do, and that's what my company does. I have a small company. I employ about 55 artists between Houston here and Austin. Okay. And that's basically it. I used to be at Six Flags Astroworld here in Houston. I was there for like 10 years. I was the owner there. And then they crashed and burned. They closed up. But by then, I was already signed with Landry's and some other properties. I'm at the Houston Zoo. And then we do private parties and events. And then we have state fair contracts. So I travel a lot too. So if I'm not running my shops in Houston, I'm on the road in another state. I'll be in Louisiana, Colorado, New Mexico, wherever, So it's very lucrative. It makes a lot of money. So it is what it is.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations for turning art into the art life for real. Like we always talk about the art life here on ONYXCON. Yeah, and one of our segments is what we call the business. You're going to cover a lot of bases today. We do the business, BIZNESS.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We're all on YouTube right now. I mean, as you know, and some people are learning after COVID, in 2020 specifically, because I always say it's still going on. Ain't nothing over. Still be careful out here, people. But, you know what I'm saying? But on the keeping it real, man, it's like I made a decision personally. I said, I don't want to do the live event unless it's done right and with the right, because we always had issues financially, and I was like, no one else would know it, but I always dealt with it. When you're the head of something,
I know it's like here.
Bro, you see the behind the, you see the always in the red when you should be in black or border in the black, trying to get that money right. So I say to people all the time who ask, hey man, when's the convention coming back? I say, when we get to 6 figures for a budget, and they think I'm joking. Like, it's not unrealistic. Like, it's a literal goal, because I know that I was doing a 6-figure event with a penny budget for a decade, literally over a decade we went. And I mean, we're still here. We're 15 years this year.
That's a blessing. That's a blessing itself.
Thank you.
And if you can stay doing something and make a business out of it, and you can survive, and you can feed yourself, take care of your family, that's a blessing itself. So I get up every day, just like probably you do every day. I'm thankful as hell that I'm still here. I'm still hustling. I'm still making money.
That's it.
You know, it's hard, but you know, you got to do what you got to do. You know.
Yeah. On a personal level, it's still the grind to the. I mean, I'm single man, divorced, no kids, so you know, I'm focused on it. I'm an actor, writer, producer, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, you know, so Yeah. So I'm in that world of it, and you know, I just got my SAG eligibility last year. But
cool.
I tell you that, like, it's a great title, but until the checks are rolling regular, it's just a title. Right. To speak of making something that pops, like, would you say that your cartoon, The Dog Years, and tell people what it is, what it's about, how you came up with it? But would you say that would be like your ultimate claim to fame so far, so to speak?
Yeah, online, that's kind of like my persona online. It kind of blew up online. The Dog Years is a how do you say it? It's a
hilarious.
it's an adult comedy. It's an adult comedy comic book. I would say they would say coming of age comic book, but they're a little older. They're past their college age. It's a series of characters, and it's semi-autobiographical. It's about me somewhat. Yeah, the story. A lot of the stuff in there is stuff that happened to me. I'll be honest. When I was young,
you can feel that. It's very. I've read it, people. It's hilarious. I mean, I haven't read it in a while, but when it was hot is when I found out about it, and I remember I got hooked on it for about a month. I was reading everything you put out. I was like, this is crazy. This is crazy.
That was the goal. So let me finish telling you about it, and then I can tell you what my goal was. So the book itself is pretty much just it's follows some of the stuff is my life when I was in college, and I dropped out of college, by the way, when I started my business. When I was in school and I was living with my brother and his best friend, and we had other friends coming in and out, and my brother's an artist too, so we're artists. That's what we do. We talk for a living. We were working at a theme park, and we were in school struggling, whatever, but we were running women crazy. There'd be different girls at our apartment every night, and then we'd have all this crazy stories and drama, and there's stuff from the comic book that's wild, but you wouldn't believe it actually happened to me. Like and I'm not like some good looking guy either. I always tell people I'm not like some good looking guy, but I always tell jokes and people would laugh and women would laugh. And that was
I'm about to say, as long as they thought you looked good, that's all that matters. You know?
Oh yeah. Unfortunately, I have a long history of being bad. So all that crazy stuff, I decided I had got married, got divorced, and I kept, I was, you know what it's like. I got divorced, and I was trying, I had worked in the industry for smaller comic book companies. I would do superhero stuff, and I would do fantasy work and all that kind of stuff. But I never liked those kind of books. I never liked superhero stuff. I read, the X-Men. My dream was to draw for the X-Men. I'm gonna draw. I'm about to say,
did you ever get any titles people would know?
Close. I mean, small comic book companies. I did indie stuff. I can't even bring them up to whatever they weren't. They weren't big enough to do anything. I did get an offer once from an editor at Marvel years ago, and something happened, and I ended up not. This is before the internet was really what it was. I got an offer, and I didn't take it because I think that about that time I had got signed with my first deal at Six Flags. So at that point, it was kind of like I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that, I couldn't do this, I couldn't, because I just borrowed all this money from the bank. I owed the bank like $60,000. I'm 20, and I was 21, and this is the 90s. You know what I'm saying? And also, I was the first African American Black person to ever have a contract inside of Six Flags in the 90s. Nobody, there was no Black contractors in the United States ever. I was the first one. And before anybody says anything, I checked. I looked up and down every Six Flags. I was the only Black contractor with Six Flags at the time. This is like 94, 95?
Wow.
94, 95. So I'm 21 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm a Black kid.
No, I'm sorry. I just got excited when you said Six Flags. Did you have any at the one in Atlanta?
No. I was in Houston. I only had one park, and then I grew out to some other stuff, but it was only one park at the time. And I had offers of other parks, but it's been crazy. But got divorced, and I said, you know what? I want to write a comic book. When you're going through divorce, you're like you're trying to get your mind off of things. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna write the kind of comic book that I would want to see. I want to write stories about the crazy wild times I had as a young adult. And I want something that I can tell stories, humorous stories about my life or things that I've seen or whatever. And that's how it kind of came about. So I sat down and I wrote out a script, and it was kind of rough. And then I kind of went over it. And I said, originally, because I was busy with work, I didn't want to do a long form comic book, like 22 pages. I would just do like 10 or 11 pages and make it short. Something like, because I always tell people when you procrastinate, which most artists do, we procrastinate. I always say, try to make things short, easy to finish, things that you know you can finish. And if you do it in small spurts, it'll keep you going. And first couple of issues, they were online, to 10 pages. And that leads me back to what I was saying about my whole strategy, because you said you were reading it, you kind of got addicted. That was the goal. The goal wasn't to come out and go into stores and make a bunch of money. The goal was to get people into the book, reading, learn the characters, build up, and then go to print. And by the time I go to print, if you're down with me and you like what I was doing, you would buy the book, which worked out well, because by the time I went to print with that first graphic novel, the first trade book, I sold I think it was like a month. I had made 2 or 3 months. I did like $10,000 in 2 or 3 months. That's
awesome.
Awesome. And then I kept selling books over the years. Whenever I would sell books, they would just go every month. I would have books that would go. And because I was busy with work, I never did. Everything stayed online. I never did any kind of what do you call it? Your cons or anything like that. I never really went to them. I kind of just sold everything online. So that was basically my strategy: get you hooked, and then if you like it, you'll buy it. I sold some books last night because I did that cartoon last night. So,
bruh, that's why I'm glad that great segue, because that's why we online right now, because I reached out because I reposted. I'm a content curator with what we do on Instagram, so we repost all types of great stuff, give people an extra platform. And that's what it's all about, for those who understand it. So like when I saw this one, I immediately fell out laughing when I saw this boy and reposted that, and I said, I knew what it was going to do, because I know the type of stuff that's going to get reactions. I know my audience, I know my demographics. We have a primarily male demographic. I wish it were more females, because it would definitely even out our issue. But I want women to be on, but it is what it is. But man, guys started reacting, because what we're talking, and I'm going to flash what the image is so people will know exactly what I'm talking about. But basically, the comic is making jokes about the whole so-called movement of passport bros, and you got this dude, laughing like the antithesis of the
Holy Grail in his hand.
Yeah, right.
Ha ha ha! Yeah, I got it. And the black women in the back, like, they don't really care, because they really don't.
They can care less, and some do and some don't. So I mean, I've seen it from all sides, from what you see on on YouTube and stuff. And when this even started, or became a thing, I even did a video for what I say is part of our ONYXCON's relationship goals in the art life, where I break down my personal perspective on the fact that we don't need hashtags like this to exist, because it creates a target on your back. You already got enough targets. Why put an extra one when you're traveling abroad, just trying to enjoy that and absorb another culture in another place? Don't become a stereotype of that's all we got in America. When we go other places, we got to defeat those stereotypes anyway. So now you're adding another one over everybody's just in one big bag instead of I'm an individual,
Well, I'm gonna speak on that. One, you I think you posted some of my other cartoons before, because I do like little meme cartoons. And I usually do the meme cartoons I have an idea in my head, and I'll do like a meme cartoon, and then it'll go viral, because I've been viral so many times, and the stuff will blow up, and then I get like a bunch of, if I do something about black women, I get a bunch of hate from black women. Oh, I hate this dude. He hates black women. I'm like, oh no, I don't hate black women. This is a moment in time. We're just talking about something, whatever. Now I'm getting, he hates black men. This dude is a simp. He a loser. He weak. He's with. It's whatever. But
all of that.
The whole thing, like the whole. Again, like I told you earlier, I lived the wild life too, and I chased women, and I did all kind of crazy stuff, and I've been up late at night coming out doing the walk of shame in somebody's house. I've done all that crazy stuff. So, and I've been overseas a million times too. I've been to South America. I've been to Belize. I've been to Dominican Republic. I've been there on the beach, seeing all the fine chicas walking around, half naked. And then usually I see like the European guys, the little white guy, he got a little girlfriend for the weekend. And the brothers too, they have it ain't nothing new. The passport bro thing is not new. And ain't nothing wrong with it. If you want to go overseas and you want to trick off your money with some foreign broads who don't really like you, but you think they like you, and they want that green card. If you want to go do that, go do that. My issue is you don't have to talk about black women on your way out the door. That's my thing. It's like you don't have to shit all over black women, excuse my French, over black women because they don't like me or whatever. Listen, like I said earlier in the show, I'm not that good looking. If I'm pulling women, there's something wrong with it. You can get women. Anybody can get women. It's not rocket science. There's no kind of thing to it. You don't have to run overseas to go get women, you know? The issue is a lot of these guys, they want women to do certain things for them. You know what I'm saying? And it's the whole Manosphere thing is, and there's nothing wrong with the Manosphere thing. The Manosphere movement is pretty much a reaction to feminism. That's really what it is. You know, we've had a lot of feminism that's uplifted women, you know, and which is fine, and that's a good thing. But overall, you have a reaction to every reaction. You know what I'm saying? So the Manosphere reaction is that. Some of it is about mental health for men, which is a good thing. Some of it is about uplifting men, which is a good thing. We need that. But then some of it is toxic as hell. Some of it is controlling women and hating on women and all kind of bringing all your personal stuff into stuff that ain't got nothing to do with nothing. Like you didn't get picked when you were in the 8th grade, so now all of a sudden you on a rampage for the rest of your life. And I always say this: if you look at my cartoons, you'll see I talk about black women, I talk about black men. I've been doing the Manosphere stuff and the feminist stuff and the argument stuff that we see now that Kevin Samuels was doing. The Dog Years was doing this almost 20 years ago. We were already doing this. I was already talking about this. And I was already putting this into cartoon form, and people were discussing this already. So it's nothing new. You know, it's new for y'all. I've been doing it, you know. But the thing about me is I'm not one side or the other. I think there's delusion on both sides. You know, I argue with black women and black men. Like, you know, Kevin Samuels had a show. I used to watch him. I hated the way he talked about women sometimes. I don't think he hated black women. I think he just he said a lot of crazy stuff to kind of get views, which I understand. He was off the chain, but he was right about a lot of stuff. There's delusion on both sides. You have women that go, well, I need a 6-figure man. I want a man making he has to be over 6 feet and making 6 figures. Meanwhile, she's 5'2". She's 400 pounds, and she works at Arby's folding sandwiches. So you at work folding your sandwiches. All of a sudden, you need a dude that's 6'6", making $100,000 a year.
Did you draw that one yet? Because that's already a panel.
They just fly off of me, man. I be thinking crazy stuff in my head all the time. I have crazy ideas. My wife, I don't know how she deals with me, but that's the thing. God. Like the men are delusional, the women are delusional, and then these guys. It's true. You got guys that are like, I want a traditional woman to cook for me and clean for me and do all this stuff and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, bro, you can't cook for yourself. You can't, you know, things. Or, you know, like then you're like talking big. Well, I don't care about your money. You don't care about their money, but you make $25,000, $30,000 a year working at a warehouse somewhere. You don't make enough money to command the kind of demand. Any man can demand respect. But some of the stuff you're talking, like you don't want a wife or a partner. You want pretty much a slave. You know what I'm saying? And you want her to, you know, wash your feet, and then you're gonna be Big Willie style, making a little bit more than minimum wage. You're not really balling like that.
Oh my gosh!
So a lot of these discussions we've been having, and here's the thing: I make pretty good money. Okay, I make pretty good money as a business owner. I make pretty good money. You know, and people. My company, we're a small company, and we make well over $1 million a year in sales. Okay, we make well over $1 million in sales, and
congrats, bro.
Oh yeah, it's been like that for years. That's why a lot of times I don't draw as much. People go, well, how come you're not working on the Dog Years? How come you're not doing this? Because, well, no, I'm just busy. I'm swamped. I get to a point to where I do run an art company. I draw myself at my booths sometimes when I'm not. I got to do the administration. I've got to hire people. We got to train people. I got to take care of insurance. I do the coordination for our parties and events. I got to do the coordination for our festivals, which we hold contracts for state fairs. Those are lifetime contracts. You have to maintain those. You got to pay your insurance. You got to make sure this is that and that and this. And I got lawyers that I got to deal with sometimes. They have, things that have to do with my business. It's engrossing. And it's I get up every day thinking about what I have to do for the day, and sometimes I'm not going to bed till late at night, so I don't have time to sit down and draw and even be creative like I want to. If I take a day off and I'm not doing anything, that's when I'll try to be creative. I said I'm gonna go ahead and draw some stuff, and I'll think of something, or something hits me in my head and I can work on it right here. But as for working on the book, I don't have the time that I used to have, so that kind of killed a lot of my progression with the book. So if anybody asks why I'm not drawing all the time, that's the reason why.
Yeah, that's I feel you, man. Like literally, you're doing the level of it. This is again, I don't want to get back on that too deep, but you pretty much just said every reason for why when people ask me, well, why aren't you doing the convention again? Because I woke up to the fact that in a convention sense, I'm doing the level of work expected of what you just described, but I had a special arrangement a lot of times with my venues and with a lot of things where I didn't have to worry about insurance. I didn't have to worry about it, but as things progressed, I started having to, you know what I mean? Like we started the film festival, for example, and for the first time ever, I had to do that formal, I paid to show this film at my event and it cost, you know, so once you get to that level and you realize what it is, and I had to pay for insurance because now, you know, I'm in Hollywood and I can get my Hollywood friend to show up, but I got to have some security near her at every time she turns a corner or she ain't gonna come.
If you don't have insurance, the first time somebody gets hurt at your business or trips over something at your business and they sue you and you don't have insurance, that's coming out your pocket. I ain't even afraid to, because I wanted to help somebody else. I'm glad everything you're saying, because these are the realities as you get older, young people and older people who take the risk of doing stuff. And the older you get, if you're smart, I just realized, man, the universe blessed me to share the vision and change lives as long as I did without all the semantics, but I always needed them. And once 2020 gave me a break to sit down and think about it, I said, man, I must be crazy. Like, but it was some other things that happened too. Like, you know, I got hurt on the job, so to speak, setting up my own event. You know what I mean? Something that no one else would know about, but just me. But as time goes by, I tell people this because I let them know I'm not doing that again. No.
Mr. Wheeler won't be lifting no more tables. If we ever do this, does the chair need to be moved? Somebody else need to push it. It ain't gonna be me.
Somebody else, right.
And it's a reason for that. It's protecting your assets and your longevity. And it wasn't until I got into
it. And I tell people, there's a lot of formalities and things that need to be done in a business. And I tell young people ask me business advice and everything. And I say it's a building process. It doesn't come overnight. You're gonna have to put a lot of work in. But if you don't do things the right way, you can destroy everything because you try to cut corners and you try to save money. And I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. And there's a reason why people do things legit the right way. Even your accounting, you don't pay your taxes every year. You don't pay your taxes. And I pay a lot in taxes every year. If you don't pay those and you don't do what you're supposed to do and take care of those things, trust me, it's going to be over quicker than you think. It'll be over. So you don't want to be done in because the IRS came after you. But
no, the worst thing
ever. They call it unforgettable. What about that bird? He's cool. He's black. Yo, keep going. Yo, keep going. Who says you have to clap with the white parts of your hand? Yo, keep going. Really bang. This is painful, dog. I agree, it's very painful. Who are all you creepy people with them crazy blue eyes?
We are called Caucasians.
Come on, 5, 6, 7, and get it.
All right, and we're back with my special guest, Brother Drayonis, legendary for the dog years, as we continue to talk about his career, business, and everything in between for this art life. So, man, what you just said about relationships, going back to, you hit a lot of points, and I just wanted to cover those real quick when you were saying how the feminist movement, the answer to it is kind of like the Manosphere thing and all of that. And I agree. It's like every time something happens that's extreme, something else extreme counters it. As they say, something equal or opposite will always happen to anything you do. So it's like, and it's not, and like you say, you're speaking from experience. You're a man who's lived, has been successful on his second marriage. Do you have kids too? I ain't trying to get all your business. I'm just
I have a daughter. And I have a granddaughter now. She's 9 months.
That's what's up.
She's awesome. That's my heart right there.
There it is.
Trying to get my house finished so she can run around in it. So.
I feel you, fam. And so, I'm an uncle, so it's like I relate to those elements of family and raising a village and all that. So like when people get on these other things, when you're just making statements from wisdom, even though it's comedic and you may not either you get the joke, you don't get the joke, you may think the joke is taken too far sometimes, whatever the case. I like your work because I always get the joke. It's never too far off to even when I might not agree. I know if I were able to talk to you like this, we'd be laughing by the end of the conversation. Like,
right. Most people, that's the thing I noticed too. Like I said earlier, I've done those meme cartoons where it might, like I think I did the one where the guy was at the comic festival or whatever, and nobody was buying his comic book.
I was gonna bring that one up. I love it.
And you should post that one. I had a black woman talking about, we don't support our own. This is when the Black Mermaid thing that came up. We don't support our own. We don't support our own.
Uh-huh.
And black women like, you made her look angry, and black women were just going hard, and you hate black women and whatever. But what people don't realize is that the reason why I made that cartoon is because the night before, I was talking to a bunch of people online, and it was this black woman that said the same thing. She was like, she was a younger chick, probably in her 20s or whatever. She was like, we don't support our own, and we this and that and this and this and that, and we just need to make our own. We don't need Disney for whatever. So I asked her, I said, well, what black properties do you support?
Right.
Crickets. I kept asking. I said, which comic books have you bought before? What do you watch? What mediums that you support? Which black cartoonists do you support? Which black artists do you support? She couldn't name one, and she kept going in circles and talking, and then she started getting mad at me, and she started turning it personal, started calling me names or whatever. So I went to bed that night. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make this cartoon because I always get on black folks. Black folks always say we support our own. We should support our own. When people say that, most times they mean somebody else should do it, not me.
Not me.
They don't mean themselves. Somebody else. We need to support our own. Like people say, well, we need to have our own movie theaters, and we need to make our own scripts. Okay, well, here's my thing. Why don't you write a script? What are you waiting for? Or people say, or people say stuff like, well, they should. They're talking about Marvel or Disney or something. Yeah. They should make this. You want somebody else to do it for you. You don't want to do it yourself. You know what I'm saying? And I always tell people, you have an idea in your head, you can make it happen. You can sit down, get out a piece of paper, and you can write and you can write out a script and a storyline, and you can do that. You can do that on your own if you have ideas in your head, and it might not go somewhere, but you can go from there. But they won't even do that. And then when it comes to supporting, you always have people saying they're going to, we should get behind this. And then when people do stuff, you don't really want to get behind them. You don't want to spend any money. You definitely want to spend any time. And it's not just black women. It's not just black men. It's just basically, you just have people just talking. They're not really serious about anything. You're not really wanting to get behind anything. There was a comic book I was working on called Black America a couple of years ago. I don't know if anybody saw that. It's called Black America.
Okay.
And it was a character that was like basically Captain America, when he was like a black guy, kind of like the Marvel series that had came out before or whatever. With the it was kind of a play on that, but it was a whole bunch of other stuff in there. I wrote all the stuff out.
So the first black, working on it. So we're playing off of the first black Captain America,
right? It was something like that, and the tagline was "A nation within a nation," and it was saying and it kind of went back to what Barack Obama said: "We are the ones we need," and it was a lot of stuff in there. And the way I was going to write that story out and get that book out, I can't tell it because I still might do it. I still might finish it. So I can't tell the plot or tell the secret of the plot. But it has a lot to do with what we're talking about now. Like a lot of times we say we want to support things, but we're not really supporting things. We want to see things. I want to see this done, but you're not willing to put the work in to do it yourself. You know what I'm saying? You I want this character. I want this movie. I want this thing done. And Tyler Perry did it. He did it.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? He did it, and he had no money, and he went out there and he just did stuff. Sometimes you can just do something and it'll work its way out. Let me say something too. Yeah. And I know this was a family. Let me not say that. Let me not say that. Let me not go into that. But let's put it this way. Some of the dog years I said is autobiographical. Right. But there's a lot of stuff I did back in the day that were business related that probably aren't the nicest. They're not. I can't say they weren't nice. They were more adult oriented stuff back in the day that made a lot of money, that supported me in different ways. That I just wanted to do something. I just did it. And I also people you can you can do things because you see something, you want to do it. Don't wait for somebody else to do it. Just do it yourself. And if you don't know what you're doing, you can study online. You can get some books. You can. You can figure it out on your own.
The show is PG-13, but we can imply everything. Are you saying that you drew some adult content cartoons or something like that? Is what you're getting at?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna leave it alone.
You don't put too much mystery in the air. Now I want to know.
I'm gonna let it go. I'll tell you off camera. Let's leave it like that.
The mystery of Drayonis. But
yeah. This is put it this way. I'm a businessman to my heart at the end of the day, and I don't really. I always tell my managers and stuff like that. I don't really care how we get the money. Just get it. As long as you're not selling drugs and you're not hurting anybody, I don't care how you bring it in each week. Just bring it in.
I hear you.
Sell what you can. So that's how we do it. But but the dog years again. A lot of it. like I said, it was the Manosphere argument before there was a Manosphere. It was that. It was all these things before that came along. I was having these discussions almost 20 years ago, and we always have in the barbershops. We always had these discussions, or whatever. But it's just now at the forefront with YouTube. It's in everybody's face, you know. And one of the things that, again, like I said earlier, I believe that black men and black women need each other, but we're both delusional. We're both delusional in a lot of ways. Both sides are delusional. Black men want certain things. They want to be treated a certain way, which they deserve to be treated. They don't want to be underfoot. We already get beat down by white America. It already does a lot of stuff. We're discriminated against. We're treated horribly, even in our day-to-day jobs. So you want your woman to respect you when you don't get the respect outside the door. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then a lot of black women, are way more educated than us. They have college degrees where we don't. My wife has a college degree and I don't. I dropped out of college. Black women have excelled in degrees and everything. So their expectations for themselves is a lot higher than where it was back in the day. They don't have to just make a bunch of kids with him and stay with him and he's doing crazy stuff and I got to be with this dude and we struggling. Right. If I'm a black woman and I'm making good money, I expect that the guy I meet, he's got to make X amount of dollars. But that's, again, comes into where the delusion is. Every black woman thinks that they're going to meet Steve Stunning. He's going to be 6'6".
Steve Stunning.
He makes $300,000 a year.
Oh my God.
He's going to marry me, whisk me. He's going to whisk me out of my Lane Bryant's because I'm 400 pounds. And he's going to put me on his team.
And they already, and that type of things that are going to have some kids too. Add that to the page picture. I swear.
And that's an issue too. I've talked about that too. Not dogging single black mothers, but a lot of y'all, you're not coming with like the total package. You got 2 or 3 kids by how many different guys already. So not saying you don't deserve love. We're not saying that. But you're looking for a guy who doesn't have kids, who makes $100,000 a year. He's willing to pick you up with your 3 kids by 3 different dudes, 2 or 3 different dudes. He's gonna put you on a team.
So even though, because I saw some of your other recent comments, the one you did that I thought was brilliant, where you took white characters from the X-Men and played a mockery of certain legendary black folk
tropes,
tropes of them, right. So you did one that was like the Angel. Not Archangel.
Right, he's Kevin Samuels, right.
With the blonde hair as Kevin Samuels. And then you did another one with my man Cyclops as doggone Dr. Umar. I said, oh my gosh. I was...
Right. It was very meta, and a lot of people didn't get it, but a lot of people did get it.
I totally got it immediately.
Well, you get it because you're in this world. You're in that world. You're an actor, and you kind of... you understand cartoons, comic books. You understand that and that, it's an analogy for something else. You get that, but a lot of people who aren't into this stuff, they're kind of like, "What's he talking about?" or whatever. But
I still want to get mad.
But again, that's what I was saying with the Manosphere one that I just did, the Passport Bro one. Okay, I piss off everybody. I piss off black men. I piss off black women. I piss off little kids, dogs, frogs. I piss off everybody. As long as you, I see something in my head and I think I'm going to clown it. I'm going to clown it, and it doesn't mean that I believe certain things. I'm against men because I had dudes call me I posted on a couple of the girl groups on Facebook. I'm gonna call simp already and all that kind of stuff. But next week, if I do something about black women and having kids, I'll make that cartoon, which I've done before. Everybody's like, yeah. No, this guy doesn't like black women. He hates black women. He don't like. I guarantee. I have people come to me and say, Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. So, like, I even did again back to that same content that we have flowing. I'm gonna have to put all those labels on this because this is obviously gonna be a part of the business, relationship goals in the art life, and it's an ONYXCON exclusive to get you on here, man. But I'll tell you, I did one where I talked about Kevin Samuels and I gave him his flowers, so to speak. Wish I had done it while he was still here, but I pretty much said in my talk is that people who have not researched. Whenever I hear somebody get to that level of fame the way he did and was smart enough to, like you said, he understood an audience at a certain point. Because in the beginning, he dogged out men and women, just like you said.
Right, he did everybody.
Yeah, he did everybody. And then he just got to a point of realizing he looked at the numbers. Because people Google, do you do the right Googles? Because if you do the right Googles, in seconds, you can get a different perspective on things. I did a quick one day and realized so much about why he did what he did the way he did. First of all, YouTube is primarily a male demographic for who's looking at it.
Right.
So you know what I'm saying? Number two, his particular audience, once he knew he had this many black men and a few black women who've been through the hell, typically older women who know the scars of life and realize what they should have done different ways to keep what they wanted in their life, and who realize that, could understand him and be fans of him. And that's who you constantly see as the folk who say, yeah, we get it, we understood, we backing him. So I made all those points in the video, but I know at the end of the day, a lot of people still are going to look back now or later and be mad just because I said,
yeah. I have people who have befriended, women who have befriended me because I said, I agree with some of the stuff Kevin Samuel said. That don't mean I like everything he said or how he said it. I just agree with some of the stuff. A lot of stuff he was saying, and if you look at when he's talking about black men and black women, he was talking to the delusion. He was talking mostly to women, but he was talking basically the delusion that everybody has. Yeah, you have a lot of guys. Again, like I said, you have a lot of men who want to act like they're high value men. And dude, again, you don't make any money. You I understand you're beat down by the world, so you're trying to overcompensate for things that you don't have. And a lot of women are delusional too because you want these kind of men, but you aren't looking at yourself. And I'm gonna say something too. I've told me and my wife had a discussion before. Okay. Men say, well, I don't care about a woman's money. I don't care about how much you make. I don't care how much you make. I understand women could. My ex-wife was like that. She was one of the people that would talk about how much money she made or her career and her college degree because she was a Rice graduate. So she's basically like the Harvard of the South. She was very smart, very beautiful woman. I'm not gonna take nothing away from her. Sure. But she was very. She would blow me in all the time about her education and her whatever. It's kind of sickening because she always talked about it. So I understand that you don't want to hear that all the time. But at the same time, I'm a guy who makes pretty good money, and I care about how much a woman makes, and I care. My wife has to work. You know what I'm saying? Not because she has to, because she didn't work for 3 years. My wife didn't work for 3 years. I actually paid for her to get her degree. I paid for her degree. She graduated with no debt. You know what I'm saying? She ain't had a vehicle that she really even paid for. Every vehicle she had, I buy them cash a lot of times. So she's lived but she's an awesome woman, and she deserves it. She deserves it, but she still got to work. You better go punch a clock somewhere. You ain't about to sit around here all day. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, if my stuff go in the toilet, my business crashes, I'm gonna need your money. You know what I'm saying? So I care how much a woman makes. So all that's about, I don't. Hold on. We're gonna rewind that part. I might have to edit it. No, I care. A whole lot of women need to hear what you just said. I want somebody to take care of me and pay for my life and all that kind of stuff. I always ask women too. This is what I talk about the delusion. I ask women all the time. So we educate you. We spend 4 years of college on you. Then you get married, and then you go, I quit. And he's the provider, and I'm gonna sit back and I'll start making children. You don't know if you're gonna have children. You don't even know if you can. You don't know that because you don't know. You don't do a biological test when you get married. You don't know if he's gonna make children. You don't know these things. Okay, so a lot of that he needs to. I was talking to a woman the other day, and she said we were arguing online, and she was like saying, "Well, I make good money, and a man needs to meet my energy. He needs to make more than me." I said, "So you're qualifying manhood by money?" And she was like, no, I'm not doing it. I said, yes, you are, because you're saying if he doesn't make a certain amount of money, he's not a real man to you. He's not man enough. Ain't missing nothing else. Just keep talking about that 6 figures. Right. And she kept saying, no, well, he has to meet my energy. And I said, no, you're qualifying manhood by money. You know what I'm saying? Which you shouldn't do. You shouldn't say that you're man enough because you make X amount of dollars. Therefore, he's worthy to be with me or whatever. And then here you are, you ain't really making no money yourself, but you have these demands of him. Or saying he needs to make more than me. And these are things that are programmed into your head. These are tropes that have been programmed into your brain to believe that manhood is based on he has to make more and he has to, and we don't know that. If you're educated, you might make more than him. You know what I'm saying? You might make more than him. If my wife made more than me, I wouldn't even care. I'm getting it anyway, so it's all good for me. I don't have an ego like that. You know what I'm saying? Right. And it's like, speaking of the Manosphere stuff, you got well, she's been with a bunch of dudes and she slept around. And I don't want a woman that's been sleeping around or whatever. Dude, we're men. We sleep with everything walking. We sleep with we sleep with anything walking. We'll screw a baseball mitt if we can get away with it. We screw everything walking. But views and opinions expressed by Drayonis do not necessarily reflect those of Joseph. But it's real. I've been around dudes my whole life. We don't give a damn. As long as she room temperature and can stand on her own, we're probably gonna do the damn thing. Drayonis. Hey, I'm just telling you, it's like dudes like you hear guys. I only mess with dimes. There's some raggedy looking dimes because I've seen some of the stuff you've been with, bro. This is me keep it real. You know what I'm saying? Men, we talk a good game, but we're not being real. You don't really care.
I love it. It's real. I used to make that joke all the time about cats, just on all levels of house. You'd hear dudes say what they didn't want and don't want. And then if they were, check it out, and then they get married, and that woman would be the epitome of everything they said they didn't want.
Oh my God.
You know what I'm saying?
You're right. And I got a friend just like that. I got a homie just like that. He used to go, I don't want no fat chick. I wouldn't mess with no chick that's fat. Man, I ran into him with one of my locations. I ran into him. Hadn't seen him in a long time. Hey, what's up, bro? This is my wife right here. This woman was bigger than a truck. And I was like to myself, this dude here. And then this funny part, he texted me later on, man, it was good to see you and stuff like that. He gives me some kind of explanation that I didn't even ask for. He said, my wife, yeah, she, I've been with her a long time and whatever. I'm looking at you like, why are you explaining it to me? I ain't even saying nothing.
I ain't even saying that. I was respectful, right?
I didn't even say anything. I don't care. I'm not picky myself. The thing about me is that I'm very real. A lot of men don't like that. I'm very real with myself. I get up in the day every day and I look at myself in the mirror and I just smile like whatever, hey, whatever I did last night, that's just chalk it up to the game. Hey, I ain't gonna beat myself up. No, she wasn't cute, but I don't really care. Sometimes I say that, and you see this in comics. I tell men all the time that when it comes to women, everybody wants to eat steak, right? But sometimes you eat sandwiches. You eat sandwiches sometimes too. We don't always get steak. You'll eat potted meat. You'll eat Twinkies, and you'll eat that Diet Coke that you got that's kind of warm because you just had hungry at the time. And that's okay. We're not always going to win. You know what I'm saying? And men, especially Manosphere dudes, stop trying to go after Daphne. If Velma's going to give you some action, you might as well.
Velma has a whole lot of cosplayers for a reason.
There you go. If Velma is your level, if she's on your level and she's playing ball, sign up with Velma, man. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to go overseas.
Scooby-Doo reference for those who don't know. I never assumed an audience. I got a worldwide audience on YouTube and everywhere.
Yeah, don't chase Daphne. Just go for Velma. Velma's right here. She cool. You know what I'm saying? She got some sexy Lane Bryants. You know what I'm saying? Just work it. Don't be picky like that. But and look, this whole conversation, I guarantee you, at the end of it, I'm gonna have a bunch of dudes hating my guts, and I'm gonna have a bunch of women that saying I'm a dog and I hate black women.
Hey, as long as they become regular watchers and help them viewer numbers go up, like you said, it don't matter how we get it. At the end of the day, did we get it?
Hey man, brother, I
do have my ethics, but when it comes to that, I like numbers. So let's get them numbers.
There you go. It's a numbers game, man. It's a numbers
for real
game.
You better believe it. You're gonna learn the hard way if not.
Right.
Brother,
But
yeah, go ahead.
Right. But a lot of my artwork, again, to segue back, is it's always relationship based. It's always been like that. So this kind of stuff that's going on right now, it's kind of like my alley because that's stuff I've always written. I don't do superhero stuff, but superhero stuff. If I get a contract, somebody wants me to do something like that, I might do it. But generally, I don't like that kind of storytelling. I like to tell storytelling about us. I like relationship stuff. I like doing a lot of relationship type storylines because those are the things that appeal to me the most. They're the most funny to me. And they speak to me. And it's funny. Here's the funny thing: when I had the dog ears and it first came out, and I was getting a lot of my correspondence. This was before Facebook had really blew up. So again, social media was Instagram wasn't what it was. Facebook wasn't what it was. The book was getting crazy numbers because people would come there. I had a message board on there, so people would socialize on the board or whatever.
Sure.
And I would get emails from a lot of women. Women would read the book a lot of times, and they loved it, and they wanted more of it.
Okay.
And they were like, I thought, well, maybe I'm writing a little too male centric or whatever. But I try to write. I try to put myself in a lot of the women's perspective too, what they would feel, whatever, because women go through stuff too. They go through things in different ways, but they go through a lot of stuff too, and they have a lot of anxiety about life, and they hate being cheated on. They hate, and that was a book. That was a book. Well, yeah, but it happens to men a lot less. It does. People go, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Women will never be as bad as men. I don't care what y'all say. They'll never. Women. There's some bad women out there. I know some women out there that run games.
So I mean, you called it the dog years, and we all know there's different levels of the slang when you say dog. But in Black culture, like this is why I always say I don't believe in that phrase for the culture. It's like make it plural. because what you do ain't what I do. Like we can relate. Everything you saying, I'm laughing at and I can relate. I got a friend who's either a little bit like you, just like you, or enough like you to understand everything you're saying. But like even in the years of what would have been quote unquote the dog years, which if you were to translate it from that being a label on men and people saying now, you know, you finish your whole phase, so to speak. You know, that's what people say.
I thought Insecure stole my swag anyway. That her show, that's
that little phrase, right? But here's the thing: it's like, okay, so I technically never really had that. Like in the years when people would have done all that stuff, I was married. I literally locked myself down because I had a different perspective on wanting to. I was just raised a certain way, and I took it literal to be so serious and like all the best advice my father and other great men gave me and other examples of what not to do. I wasn't the kid who just like, all right, well, I might do that later. Not, like I did it then. And so like the only problem with it, this society is not that mature. So I always make that, you feel me? So like if the society was as mature as I was in my 20s and 30s, I probably wouldn't be still married to the same woman because we should have just been friends. And we would just, it was one of those, but I would have known to let it go earlier, and I would still dated the way most people do in their 20s and 30s, and had a whole lot of wonderful experiences, and probably would have traveled a lot earlier. Like I just like, okay, this whole thing about the passport bro, whatever. Like the other reason I hate it is because I know if someone looks at me traveling, they would, oh, there you go, they go one of it. No, hold up, player. I ain't y'all. and ladies, please save it. Like I am such a unique situation. Everything that's whatever's the typical, you gotta take a chemistry thing and add a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and a little bit of that, and ain't none of it gonna look like what you used to when you finish making jokes. I promise you. You sound
like a good, honorable man. And
had to be, man. It's my code. Like I'm like they say, I'm not a lover, I'm a fighter. I'm a lover but the different thing about a lover is passionate. We the killers. Don't play with us. So I knew myself. So I was like, I can't play those games that people play. Oh, it's whatever. We did what we did. No, somebody gonna get hurt for real.
See, ladies, if y'all watching, this is the kind of man y'all want right here. This is the kind of man you want right here. Now, not me. Years in the past, you don't want the kind of guy like me. You don't want me because I'm trash. But you want this kind of guy right here. That's a good man, and he's honorable, and he's respectful of women, and he's he's thoughtful and stuff like that. I was not that guy.
But let me say that. Still putting it down for everywhere they want it. Like the big stereotype is, oh, the nice guy don't know how to. I'm a Virgo for real.
No, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I just think that something me and my wife was. I was telling her the other day that women always want us to be honorable and upstanding and good and gentlemen, and those things are kind of talked about in a kind of ethereal kind of way. There's no socialization for that for black men, like men in general. Let's say men in general, because if I was telling my wife that if you look at how we were, you talking about the 80s and the 90s, we grew up during the rap, hip hop. You look at rap videos, they got the girls in the video. Every chick was light skinned because that's what they went with, and she's half naked, and it's all rap and hip hop is all about getting women. Music in general is about getting women, getting the hookup. I listen to a lot of soca and calypso music because I'm Caribbean, but I grew up on hip hop too. But it's always about being a player and getting women. Black men, being black in America is a very sexualized position anyway. We're very over sexualized. Even our children, how we're put upon. And those aren't necessarily things that we cause ourselves. Some of those are the society we live in and how we're portrayed. And this one, we just kind of self-perpetuated those things over time. So there's no school where they train men to be good men. You have expectations. Well, I want my man not to do this and not do that. Usually the man you want is the man that every woman wants. You know what I'm saying? Like the 6'6" guy who's very handsome, makes a bunch of money. Everybody wants that guy. Okay? Everybody wants that guy. And even if he ain't 6'6" or Steve Stunning like me, I'm not that. There's always going to be the things that make him awesome, or to be the things that other people want from him. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of, there are a lot of good men out there walking around. A lot of men are good men, and I would say that dogs aren't born; they're made. They're made. You have guys who start out very good, and they get hurt over time. And then they figure out, well, I was honest to this woman. I was honest to her. She ran game on me, or she dogged me out. So you know what? I'm no longer going to be honest. I'm going to lie. I will say I love you and I don't love you. I will say, and also, like, if you talk about the paradigm of race is how we date and how we interact completely different. White guys will date. They will date. Well, we're dating. We're going out. What do black folks do? We kick it. we kick it. And when we say kicking it, means there's no strings attached. We just hanging out.
So here's the funny. Now I know you're almost like a black. You're truly doing this. The comedians on stage. Have you ever done stage comedy? Because you got that energy.
People keep telling me that. I've been told that for years that I should do stand up, but I don't think I'm cute enough to do stand up. I think.
There you go again. Look, bro.
I'm self-deprecating, but
you can do it. But the other part of it is I gotta interject on one thing, because I know what you're doing with that, because it's something that irks me when comedians do that. It's the same thing as saying for the culture and making it like this one way, like black folk do this, white folk do. Whoa, because I'm black and culture. And here's my thing.
No. I know what you're saying too. I agree. I'm not saying white people pay their bills and black people don't. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that we're socialized certain ways that you'll hear it among our crew. Well, me and her just kicking it, right? We're kicking it. And it's a way for you never to be serious with her. You can have sex with her, you can mess around with her, and you can never commit yourself to her. You know what I'm saying? We just friend. That's just my friend. We friends. They ain't your friend. You've been sleeping with her for how long?
I'll just say this: white boys do the same damn thing.
They
the terms and the expectations, depending on who. Because again, there's no one way to be white. There's no one way to be anything.
I'm not saying I agree with you absolutely. I'm not saying it's absolute. It's not saying it's absolute. I'm just saying that I grew in Baytown, Texas, here in Texas. I saw white dudes who you consider a herb or a nerdy dude that was like, these guys are more white dudes. Again, they'll dog out women, they'll lie, they'll do all that horrible stuff. But I'm saying that a lot of our popular culture, when we talk about hip hop, music, whatever, it doesn't popularize us. It doesn't streamline us into being the husband, the wife. It's all about being a player a lot of times.
That's a good example. To make that example makes the point even stronger. Now I get it.
We're not getting
that's pure hip hop. It's just what's been.
Well, I'm just using an example. Example. And see, and we're socializing. We've been socializing ourselves to be a player, to go out there. How to be a player was a movie. How to go. You got to get the girls. You got to get the girls. Yeah. Even a lot of times when we talk about interracial dating, a lot of white women that go, well, black men have swagger. They have confidence or whatever, and they play up to that. You know what I'm saying? So. A lot of times we're living this thing that's not healthy for us overall. You know what I'm saying? It's not getting us married. It's not getting us in healthy relationships. We're not getting there, but we're living this life. And you have to. One of the things that you have to be able to be self-examine yourself and say, hey, am I really being authentically me, or am I living some kind of programming? When I was talking to younger brothers, I would say, are we trying to? Are you playing yourself to where you believe that this is how you're supposed to be, or are you not doing the right thing because you're not thinking outside the box? Even calling dudes simps. You're a simp. You're this. You're you were nice to look. Even right now, you got Andrew Tate, right? Who's wandering around, right? This guy's I can't stand this dude.
Who is this? I'm sorry.
Andrew Tate.
From what?
That's the guy, like the mixed guy, the British guy. He's in jail right now. They just arrested him overseas, and I don't know what country he was in. But he's Andrew Tate is like the guy who always tells the guys, you got to be tough. Women are supposed to be underneath you. He's always wearing shades, bald guy. He's on the Fresh and Fit show sometimes.
Okay, not familiar. Okay, gotcha.
I'm surprised you're not familiar. He's pretty popular. He's
I can't. You know how that go, man. Every week there's somebody new, and if you don't,
the guy gives like this horrible advice. He's not like Kevin Samuels. He says horrible things about women. He tells men. You have 13 or 14-year-old boys that are listening to this guy, and he's giving out horrible advice, and a lot of women hate him, but a lot of stuff he's saying, some of the stuff he's saying, it's great to go work out. It's great to have confidence in yourself, but you don't have to control women. That's not the goal, is to control women. They're not your slaves. They try to put him and Kevin Samuels in the same boat, but Kevin Samuels was not that guy. This guy is completely something else. He's a caricature of manhood, and a lot of people have fallen into it. So again, I talk about a lot of relationship stuff because that's really has always been my focus. It's always been my focus to tell stories around that. So
yeah,
I know I'm kind of running long with the mouth.
No. It's cool. And I'll definitely look up. I'm probably going to immediately know who you're talking about when I see the face. But anyway,
right.
But no, man, it's like all of this is relative. And as you said, the most important thing that I got out of everything you just said is when we're not being our authentic individuals. So I speak big and most high to individualism, because until a person looks themselves in the mirror, I don't give a damn what your influences are. You don't know who you are. Yeah, I don't care what it is.
Right.
You know?
Right. We gotta be real, man.
Gotta be real, man. Because life gonna make you be real anyway. It's got the receipts, and you're gonna pay it at some point. Like it's gonna get it.
When again, what I say with women and men, we need to learn how to self-reflect. You know, you need to be able to self-reflect. You need to be able to self-analyze. You need to stop sometimes and say, hey, am I doing this because X, Y, Z? And am I doing the right thing, or am I doing the wrong thing, or why am I doing this thing? And am I being honest, or am I being, you got to break these things down. You just can't be, I'm just trudging through life like I'm just doing whatever. You have to be. There's a reason why you do anything.
Following trends and not even realizing none of this is in your heart. Right. Who are you? So let me ask you this, because and we can end on this one, because I think this is a major point. We know that, me being in the film biz, I've seen so many concepts get greenlit into series or film. I could see the Doggies would be an ultimate series on like. I
don't think so.
You don't think? You don't want
I
that?
think I wanted it for a long time, but I think my comic book and my cartoon might have. I think it's past its. No, I think there's an expiration date. I don't know, man, because let
me tell you from a fan perspective, because a lot of times when you're the creator, you can't see it. I'm just gonna say this from this is someone who's been in Hollywood for over 10 years now. Okay, understand that. Every Marvel set you can think of, I've been on 90% of them because they were all shot here in Georgia. Okay?
Right.
All right. Now, like I said, I'm SAG eligible. I have at least an experience on that level, so I'm speaking from experience when I say I know the type of stuff they're looking for, which shouldn't surprise you in that. But also, I know the type of stuff that it's a complete story with likable and unlikable, and you can learn to like them characters. You know what I'm saying?
Right. There's some good ones in there.
Yeah, it's perfect for it, man. But only if it's done right. And I know you would want that control over your baby. So here's my thing. I was using the example of the Boondocks and how what Aaron Magruder did in a comic strip was brilliant. But by the time Hollywood comes knocking at the door and they take it and turn it into what that became, I did not like the cartoon. I did see certain episodes. Yeah, I'm laughing like anybody could get the joke. Yeah. I would be leery of with your concept. I didn't like the Boondocks cartoon. Some people are going to lose their mind right now just to hear me say that.
I'll be real with you. I never liked it either. But I didn't like it either.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I like the concept of it. I didn't like the dropping of the N-word. I didn't like in my comic book. I never use the N-word. I never use it.
And I noticed
they call each other names. They never call each other the N-word because they're not going to dehumanize each other. Because we can have disagreements and not dehumanize each other. I'm not going to take the enemy's words and use it against my brothers and my sisters. I'll call you all kind of names. I ain't calling you that.
I'm with it. Go ahead. I get excited.
Even when I use the word, I use it correctly. It's a slur, and I generally call, if I do use that word, not in my artwork, but if I'm general, I use it for somebody doing something awful. They're doing something awful at the time. And it could be a white person, it could be a purple person, or whatever. But I generally don't. I don't use it as a form of salutation or affirmation. I don't say "What up, man." I'll never say that to you because you're not that. I don't use that language in public. So I didn't want to put a book out where I was giving you an excuse to call yourself that every other word and dehumanize each other in every other panel. So that's something I did not like about the Boondocks, because then you have a bunch of kids that you're reinforcing something. Yeah, and saying that we took that word and we turned it around, we did not turn it around. You can't clean that word up. I agree.
It'll never get cleaned.
You can't rehabilitate it.
That's correct. I agree, man.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
The further we go into history, and it's great for this to be Black History Month and us talking about this, but people are trying to pretend history is going to be something like there's some new history that's being in it. History is history. Every second of this making history. So anything we do always adds up to the next thing. We cannot deny. Yes, I don't care what you do new. I don't care what you create. Some tag, some genre, something. Ain't nothing new. It's just what yesterday was plus today and the next day. It will forever be what it is. It is.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. That's real talk, man. It's something else, man. It's like I mean, at my age, it's. I watched the world change so much.
I swear,
stuff that we've been through a whole lot, man. The last couple of years, especially with COVID, and,
whole lot,
and then it's people lost their mind, and I'm pretty liberal. I'm pretty liberal. I'm
right.
pretty liberal. I'm fiscally conservative. I'm socially liberal. But we've been through so much, and the world's changed. And sometimes I can't tell if it's getting better or is it getting worse. Are we getting better or is it getting worse? Well, I don't think we're getting better, So
no, I know what you mean. And because of to back to what because I remember the other thing that led us into this when I asked you, but I couldn't take it because, like you say, they killed the N-word. They turned grandpa into an abuser. They had the kids going at each other in ways they did not go at each other in the comic. It was the total opposite of the energy he was sharing in his original concept. Right.
And it was some of the political stuff was in there, but it was usually at the very end.
Yeah.
And it was like, and again, it was. There were some brilliant episodes. He did some brilliant episodes. Yeah. I'm not on Aaron's Magruder's level in his walk through Hollywood, his success. I'm nowhere near that, and I can't scrape that.
Yeah, go ahead.
So So if you critique work that's really good, then everybody's like, well, look at your crap is yada 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 whatever. But again, I tell people too, I didn't make the book for you. I made it for me. And
if you like it, then I got an audience. Yeah,
right. And I tell people that all the time. Don't write for other people. Don't write things for other people. Write it for you. I wrote it for me. I wrote it for me because I wanted to tell my stories, and I wanted to tell things that I thought I put in things in there that made me laugh. And if I feel like if I'm laughing, then maybe you'll laugh too.
Somebody, right.
And it found its little audience as a small. And again, it was a height that it was really popular. I think like the first 2 years I was doing it. The amount of emails, I was getting emails from around the world. I was getting emails from Japan, Canada. I got Australia, Black folks that were either stationed over there or they moved over there, expats. And oh my God, I'm feeling this book, man. Your web comic book it's hitting, man, because I've been there. I've been to the strip club and this happened at the strip club, or me and my girl, I did this and that. And then I would get emails from women, Black folks who were like, oh my God, keep writing, keep whatever. And it did really well. So I actually, after so many years of doing it sporadically, because I got busy with work, so I was thinking of just doing my last few issues and kind of shutting the story down and having an end to it. Because we're actually on issue number, I think I'm on 14 or something like that. Because I have a Patreon. Patreon, and the book continues on Patreon.
So tell them.
Patreon. So if you go to my Patreon, if you go to the dog ears, it has a link to the Patreon in there. If you go there and you join up, all the issues the ones that are for sale, if you don't have those, you can pretty much read everything up until where we're at now. And there's a whole lot more storyline that goes on there. And it's pretty good. I think it's pretty good. A lot of my people that are on there, they love it. So I don't know. I would love to see it become a series or something, maybe a cartoon series or something. Maybe I don't know. Somebody sees this and you're in Atlanta, or you got the connections or something, like you go read the dog ears and come back and tell me what you think. And maybe this could be the property that you take and you say, hey, let's get together and let's turn this into something. I think it might blow up. I don't know.
It's made.
I segued into my business and I just started saying, you know what, I'm making money over here. Let me just stay over here in this lane and then I'll get with it when I get with it. But I usually draw nowadays when I have absolutely nothing going on, then I'll draw something. So,
well, on the real, I would say, with the success you've had financially, I can't count your pockets. I don't know what else you got to invest that in, but if you have anything that you could put aside to put into a production, you've got the kind of funds. Like people always think, everything's got to be millions. I got friends who've made stuff that looks like Hollywood. I know you know this, but I'm just saying this for the audience. People who made stuff that looks like Hollywood off of $5,000. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's more about the passion than the technical expertise.
Well, there's a whole lot of stuff behind that too. Like even though I've hit some success as a business person, I had a lot of failures in business.
To get where you go.
I had major failures, and I'm gonna say it sounds cliche, but racism was an issue before. I dealt with racism. That I had one of my contracts ruined basically because a GM. There was a guys who are our contract holders. Racist guy. He pretty much walked in and was like, he didn't like Black folks. He was a strong conservative. did not like black people. He called us the N-word whenever he could, not earshot of me, but behind when he get with other white folks, I was every kind of N-word on the planet. Even though I was doing nothing wrong, and he pulled a contract away from me that was worth about $450,000. So yearly, that was a yearly $450,000 gross sales that got pulled away from me, and it damaged my business. Then I was at Six Flags. I lost Six Flags for a couple of years. That's what led to my first divorce. It didn't lead to it. It
didn't help. I hear you.
Yeah, it didn't help. Being struggling again wasn't helping. So for me, a lot of times it's I found success over here. So I'm more like still in survival mode, where I'm just like, bank your money, keep your investments going. I have zero debt, and my houses, properties are all paid. Just collect, keep working, and when you can't no more, then we'll figure something out when we get to that point. But the dog years, again, it's a passion project that it's dear to me, and again, I've if somebody comes along, they see it and they want to take it to the next level, and they can tell me how to take it to the next level, and you see your video and they go, hey, you know what, I want to get down with that. Hey man, shoot me an email. If you got connections that I don't have, then let's make it happen. You can do that pitch to Cartoon Network or Warner Brothers, or you can do the pitch to HBO and say, hey, let's do this. Because I see a lot of guys that I'm friends with online and social media, and they're getting deals. They're getting signed, their stuff's getting animated, and they're getting movie deals and all kind of stuff. I see it all the time, and I don't ever get jealous. I'm happy. I'm like, man, that's great, man. I want to see black folks win. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I'm not one of the people that's like, well, why hasn't my project been picked up? It might. You never know. You might slip on a banana and somebody says, I like it, let's do something. I'm not in it to where I've been blessed, again, like you're saying, I've been blessed to where I have a business where I'm not starving, and it doesn't begin and end with this property. It doesn't go well. If I don't get this deal, my life is over with, or I have to go, give up everything just to make this one property work. I can work on it and take my time and believe in it, and it's not do or die for me. It is me writing, sitting down writing, and telling stories and making it funny and making people laugh, and ultimately I want to make stories and make people cry. I want to tell you stuff that some of the triumphs I've had, some of the failures I've had. I want to put all of that into that, which I've done partially. I haven't got all of it in there, but I want to do all those things, and then if you feeling me, come mess with me, man. Like I said, the last couple of days, 2 days, I sold like a bunch of books over the weekend, and I wasn't, sometimes every time I do a meme, I'll sell books. I'll put it out there and I'll link, I'll sell books. And I was okay, I sold. My wife goes, oh, you sold some books? Okay, cool. You sold some books.
Nice. I love it.
Yeah.
So hit them with the links again, and we're gonna close on that. Let them know all of your social media, where they can go get the book, where they can go get that Patreon again, all of that.
Right. My website is the Dog Ears. THEDOGYEARS.com. You just go there and all my links are there. That's it for everything. The Patreon's on there. And then we're on social media too. We're on Instagram. And Drayonis, we go to Drayonis, Drayonis, that's me. That's my main page. And it just has like all my artwork and stuff like that.
Is there a quick story as to where that nickname came from? Because it sounds cool as hell. It came from a dream. A dream. Okay. In
the 7th grade. I was 7th grade. I was in 7th grade. And it's a stupid dream, and it made no sense to me. I don't know why I had it. So my name is Andre. And I had some kind of dream where I was a knight wearing silver armor, and I was on this court where everybody was wearing this bright armor, some kind of futuristic weird dream. Maybe I was doing mushrooms in the 7th grade. I don't know. But I had this weird dream, and I felt really powerful and all this kind of stuff. And this knight looked at me and said, I call you Drayonis. And I was like, I woke up and I was like, Drayonis? I'm sitting in bed going, I'm a little fat kid sitting in bed. I used to be really big though, by the way. I lost like a lot of weight. So I was a little fat kid. Yeah, I lost about 150 pounds. But I used to be a little chubby kid. I'm sitting in bed with Doritos on my stomach. And I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm like, why do you call me Drayonis? So the next morning I started trying to draw out myself as a little knight character, and I wrote it down, and I've spelled it Drayonis. And I just stuck with it, and it's been like every time I would write stuff, I just put Drayonis. It's really, I don't even know.
The dream was meant. Hey, it's got a vibe to it.
I don't know. People,
if people didn't know you were a cartoonist, they would think it's the newest rapper that's about to blow up. Like it just got.
Well, it's funny because I have people that just call me that. I have friends who just say, "What's up, Drayonis?" They just call me that.
Right.
You know, it's on my hash. I'm on PlayStation, on Xbox. It's always Drayonis. It's always the same thing. So I don't know.
There it is.
But Joseph, again, thank you.
Man,
thank you so much,
brother. No
thank
doubt,
you so
man.
much. I know that you've invited me to ONYXCON multiple times, and I'm going to come eventually. I will be there eventually.
The invite stands. Whenever I decide we get that budget we need to do the live event again, you're there. Let's go. And
again, you do amazing work. I followed you for years, and I've been on your page, and I've looked, and I'm like, this is a real deal right here. So anybody that's out there, if you're an artist and you're coming up, you want to get on this man's Instagram, you want to get with ONYXCON, and you want to follow them, and you want to stay up with them, because he's talking the talk. He's walking and talking. He's doing the work. He's supporting a lot of Black artists and creators. We need somebody like him in our corner. So I'm with that. You know what I'm saying? So if you out there, man, follow this man. Follow this man.
That's what's up. Y'all heard it from the dude himself. Thank you, Drayonis, man.
Okay. All right.
Appreciate you.
Thank you, brother.
Have a good one.
All right. You too, man.